Welcome back to Touring the AFC South. I'm your host, Mike Patton. And of course, I do step outside the AFC South from time to time. And the guest for this episode, of course, is a very talented writer for 1:37 p.m. I've definitely not tuned in, but read a lot of her interviews and a lot of her writing. Definitely very, very talented. And I was like, well, I've got to get her on the show, talk about this a little bit of style and shoes and a little bit of everything that she does. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce everyone to Miss Jael Rucker. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Well, I thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule because I see you all the time. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I'm like, wow, my head's kind of spinning keeping up with everything you're doing.
Yeah, my head spins a little bit too. Like I just remembered an hour before, I was like, oh, I got to do this. So,
Well, hey, life happens and it definitely keeps you on the run, right?
yeah, for sure.
All right. So can you tell everyone how did your can you tell everyone about your journey to 1:37 p.m.?
For those that don't know, I'm sorry if you hear my niece kind of screaming in the background. She's home for the summer. But My journey to 137 kind of started a couple of years before that. I was on the Georgia State sidelines for basketball and football. I was actually I guess the first and maybe only, because I don't know if anybody who's replaced me, sideline reporter to cover their games for ESPN3 and ESPN Plus. So like I still consider that to, as a young Black woman, to be an accomplishment. That's how I got my start. I did that for 3 years, and then it was like one day, I guess it was the last day of the season. It was like that was when COVID kind of started to hit. It was the night like Rudy Gobert and I think Donovan Mitchell got COVID, and it was like that news kind of broke in the middle of our game. And you just saw it's one of the strangest moments in my life. It was like a movie where everybody just got quiet and you saw like everybody getting the notification on their phone at the same time and everybody was leaving and stuff like that. So the season ended, obviously, and I think Georgia State decided that ultimately they weren't going to bring the sideline roll back, which I hope they do at some point. But I, like, in the course of waiting to see what they were going to do, I just kind of like, I knew I always loved to write. So I, at the time, you could apply for our company because it was like really new and growing, and I liked what they were doing. I didn't know it was a Gary Vee company because they didn't say it until like the end. So got the job, and it's just been up ever since.
Yeah, it definitely has been. I mean, I'm looking around and all the different things that you've done, all the different people you've talked to, and I'm like, wow, she is definitely doing her thing. So
Yes.
I gotta ask, the video and the writing.
Mhm.
So how do you kind of decide which one you're gonna do and who's it gonna be on, kind of in terms of the videos and between the videos and the writing?
I wanted. Are you talking about the NBA series or that I did?
Just kind of any things that you've done video wise in terms of how do you decide which one you're going to write on as opposed to I'm going to talk about this one.
Well, I noticed that there wasn't really a lot of people in the NBA space that was doing history TikToks, like TikToks on NBA history. So that's kind of what I started doing. And I wanted to specifically pull moments that, people didn't really remember until you saw it again. And you were like, oh, I remember that, like Tim Duncan hitting the three in game one of the Western Conference first round against the Phoenix Suns. Like a lot of people had forgotten about that. That was one of the videos that I did. And then I kind of wanted to do interesting things too, like how the Chicago Bulls got their theme song in the 1980s, and it became like their iconic theme, especially with Jordan and the Bulls. And I wanted to kind of do the video games like NBA Jam and kind of go into the history of that. And then I had the idea to do like the NBA players who were on MTV Cribs. So I wanted to make it different and I wanted to make it interesting. And then around the time that the playoffs came, I kind of decided that I wanted to transition and do more current stuff and kind of make predictions and, kind of go from there. And I think it was a good first year. I don't know what I'm going to do season two. I'm actually, I'm actually going to be entering a unique space in the sport of like in covering sports. So I don't know if I'm going to do just that again, but it was fun. And in terms of writing, believe it or not, a lot of people reach out to me they'll be like, well, how did you, get this person or interview this person? And just about every single big name person that I've interviewed, their PR people reached out to me. So I think I might be doing something right.
Definitely.
Wow. So
I mean,
but as much as I interview, I guess what you would, like the celebrities or the big name athletes or whatever, I'm also just as proud of like the original pieces that I kind of put together. Like this past weekend, I went to go see the new Elvis movie, and I reviewed it from a style perspective, because everybody's going to review the movie. But I was like, let me talk about the style. And so I broke down like each phase of, of the movie in terms of style. And that was fun. That was unique. It was the first time doing that, and I have more in store. So yeah.
Well, definitely a unique perspective, and a perspective of I would say you're along the creative path, I would say.
Yeah, I think I've always been a little bit creative. I've always been a writer. So it's funny because sometimes people are like, like you're working, and I have to remember that I have to, it's good to take time off and things like that, because writing has always been something that's creative and therapeutic for me. I remember my teacher told my mom once to have me write a lot, and have me do it in my like spare time, to read and write a lot, because she thought I had a gift. And that was just something it'd be like, okay, go write. And it just came naturally to me. And I remember like several years ago, I think my freshman year of college, I had the flu for like a week. And instead of just watching TV, I wrote like a whole film, like a whole movie that I still would like to do something with at some point. So it's just, I have to remember like, okay, sometimes you have to take a break, because it doesn't feel like work. It's what I've been doing like my whole life. Even when I think back to like when I'm doing with style pieces, if I saw a movie that I liked, which as a kid, that was the Cheetah Girls, like I'd write down like their style, like what they were wearing. Like I like the outfit in this scene, and research it and all that. So it's just fun to me.
Wow. And you definitely bring a unique style and unique charm to writing, just for the different perspectives that you bring. Speaking of someone with a different perspective, you work for Gary Vee. How has his positivity and his aura kind of rubbed off on you since writing for him?
Well, the funny thing is my interaction with Gary has actually been a little bit limited. Like it's just, we've never met because this entire time we've been remote. So the interactions that I have had with him, the few, because he's a very busy man, it's just been like via DM or, just like a text chain or something like that. But it's always been very positive. But what I say is, I work for somebody who drops F-bombs on just about every single video. And so that is, they don't want us to be a super strict journalism platform. We're allowed to curse in our articles. I don't really, but we're allowed to curse. And so, sometimes I do, but it's, like I got to write about weed for 420. So, I just love that creative freedom. And I just, now that I've experienced that, it's just like, I want to work here forever, because I couldn't imagine working for any place else that's gonna have me, that's gonna restrict me once you get that kind of freedom, and then that's the thing about the people that work for Gary Vee is like, it's so, I think everybody is just empowered to do whatever they want, whatever they are passionate about, as long as it's, even if it doesn't hit right away, it's always like, as long as you're passionate about it and you're hard working and you're good to others, it's like you're pretty much able to do what you want. And there's a reason why, like, the people that have worked with him have been with him for a long time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I gotta say that's pretty true. And then also I've got to ask, since you've been writing for 1:37 p.m., what has been the best experience you've had so far, whether it be writing, video, or just anybody responding to what you've written?
Man, I have a feeling that this answer, like if you let's say we did this interview 2 weeks from now, I think the answer will be different, because I'm going to Vegas for Summer League, and it's the first time I've ever been. So I have a feeling that's going to probably end up going down as my best experience, especially like with where I'm staying at and the fact that I've never been before. And I think I'm going to hit up that Michael Jackson one. um, uh, yeah. So, but in terms of what I haven't experienced yet, I would have to say the Red Bull events were pretty fun. My favorite one was going to Houston because I'd never been to Houston before, and Houston was very like warm Southern hospitality. It was very nice. I considered moving there just from spending a weekend there. So Houston was nice. But I always say Jimmy Butler changed the trajectory of my career, being able to interview him. Because it was like once I got him, it opened up the door to being able to get a lot of other people. So.
Nice. And Jimmy Butler, I will say, is probably my favorite player in the NBA at this point. So when you posted that, I was like, okay, I need to read this now. So I mean, that was a very, very good article, and it wasn't your usual typical article as well, which I definitely appreciated. Brought a different angle to it, and I was definitely enjoyed the work there. Now, I've got to ask also. 1:37 p.m. Do you know how that name came about?
People ask me, and it was like, I don't really know the answer. I've heard that was the time on the clock when they decided they wanted to create this website, sort of like Jay-Z 444. I don't really know. That's the mystery. We really don't know the answer to that.
Gary V, if you're listening, hey, we need to know something. Come on now. Just at least give us that much. Come on, Gary V. But anyway, we're going to switch over a little bit to a little football talk. Not too tough on the football talk for this episode, but hey, we still got to talk a little football. We are the AFC South show. We do talk a little football. And I've got to ask, who is your favorite team in the NFL?
I get asked this question a lot. I do not have one. I've never had one.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm a shameless Tom Brady supporter. So, I mean, if I go for anybody, I go for him. So I guess, like before that was the Patriots, and I guess I'll be going for him again with Tampa. But I don't have a team. Like, I don't have a football team.
Hey, it is what it is. I totally understand. I don't necessarily, in the AFC South, of course, there are 4 teams. I'm not going to say which one I root for or like or anything of that, but there is a particular gentleman in the AFC South. He's a very large human being. His name is Derrick Henry. Now, have you seen the videos of his stiff arms with Josh Norman and then with Earl Thomas spinning him around in the top?
I have not. I've seen highlights of him. I don't think I've seen that specific video that you're referring to.
He's a big man. Can you imagine? Can you imagine just seeing that big a man when you're imagine you're a defender and you have to come tackle him? I mean, what would be the thoughts going through your mind at that point?
I mean, I'm a competitor. I mean, if I were on that field, I would still try, but probably get my butt kicked, bones broken.
Yeah, it would. I would say, yeah, he's definitely a guy that's a big guy with a combination of speed and a combination of size that just, I don't think the NFL has seen anything like this at all, or will probably ever see something like this again. So, I mean, it's very interesting. Of course, I do have to talk about the Atlanta Falcons. Right. I believe you're in the Atlanta area.
Not anymore.
Oh, not anymore. Oh, okay. Well, I missed something. But anyway, we still got to talk about Atlanta here. Now, I call them Titans South. Some Atlanta Falcons fans do not like it that I call them Titans South, but they have literally signed maybe like 5 million players from the Tennessee Titans team this offseason. I mean, their head coach is from the Titans. Their defensive coordinators from the Titans. Offensive coordinators from the Titans. I mean, if they had throwback uniforms that were blue, they would pretty much be the Titans. I mean, it's amazing to me that so many Titans end up down there and become former Titans to become Falcons. I mean,
honestly, you bringing that up is the first time that I've ever really kind of realize that. But
yeah, it's funny to me. It kind of reminds me of the people that moved from Tennessee down to Atlanta, because that happens a lot. There's a lot of people that move from Nashville to Atlanta and from Chattanooga to Atlanta. So it kind of, I guess, they're kind of keeping up with what those cities, those states do with each other, and kind of moving back and forth and those type of things, which it's pretty interesting to me. It kind of cracks me up that it happens. And anytime any former Titan is a free agent, I'm always thinking there's a good chance they're going to go to Atlanta.
Nashville's pretty nice. I got the story of how I ended up in Nashville for the first time is kind of funny. Like, it was on a Greyhound. I decided to take the bus. Sometimes I like the little road trip thing, like as opposed to the plane flight, and the bus driver didn't show up, so we were stranded in Nashville. So that's how that's how I got introduced to Nashville for the first time. Bus driver.
Yeah, oh boy. Yeah, Nashville. Nashville is fun. Nashville has its moments, but one place you will not catch me in Nashville is on Broadway. No. No, Broadway, especially at night. You won't catch me on Broadway. The rooftops, especially in the summertime. No, you will not catch me down there, because it's masses of people down there. And I'm like, nah, I'm not about that life anymore.
Not about a lot of people, so I guess you won't be making a trip to New York anytime soon, huh?
I will say this. I do like New York. I just don't like Nashville's Broadway a lot. Especially when it's like packed. I don't like that. But New York packed is different to me. It doesn't really bother me as much, because I'm expecting that there.
Yeah.
In Nashville, it's a little different and it's built a little different. So you're like, I don't know about any of this. So, but we have talked a little bit about, of course, your career, a few of the athletes, and your unique style of writing. But of course, with any show, we do always got to have a game.
Okay.
I've got 5 questions for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We got NBA 2K or NBA Jams.
Well, I never played NBA Jam. So I think I'm a little on the younger side, because I think by the time I started playing, like, NBA Jam was kind of out of the loop, so it was just live and 2K. And what did you say? You said 2K or Jam, or live or Jam?
Yep.
Live or Jam. I mean, I would have to go with what I know, so that would be NBA Live.
All right. Okay. We got Juju Smith-Schuster or Shaq Griffin. Which interviews you like? Which person do you like more to kind of talk to?
They were both very different experiences. With Juju, it wasn't one-on-one. It was a Twitter space that we all
right.
posted together. Right. With Shaq, I would have to go with Shaq, because his story, like, I wasn't talking to him about football. I was talking to him about a cruise event that he hosted. He was named the Godfather. So I started the interview off, because it was kind of like this. It wasn't recorded, like, I didn't post it. It was an article, but we kind of just spoke to each other via Zoom, and I was like, "Oh, you're the Godfather, like Marlon Brando." And we just started cracking up. So that's my favorite. Like, we just couldn't stop laughing after that.
He probably came in. You owe me. Yeah. Oh my goodness. But yeah, okay. We've got Jordans or Air Force Ones.
I'm gonna go with the Forces. I know a lot of people are like,
yes,
but I'm gonna go with. There's nothing like a clean white Force, but they, it's like when you have on Forces, it's almost like, I don't know, I get a little paranoid, because like one step in the wrong thing, like, it's all white. Like, you don't want your Forces to be dirty, so I don't wear them very often. It's crazy, because I have Forces, but I do not wear them. Because I'm so paranoid of them getting dirty. So
now, if you wear them, I would say you probably would have some Air Force One, the Air Force One song playing potentially in the background.
Yeah.
Right? No, wrong. I do like that song from back in the day, but okay, I saw where you let's see, I got this one for you. I'm gonna bring a Silk Sonic one to you.
Mm-hmm.
Anderson .Paak or Bruno Mars? Got to pick one of them and their music. Which one you taking?
I mean, I think I'd have to go with Bruno because like I was introduced to Bruno years and years ago as a teenager. So that was like I kind of Bruno reminds me of my high school years. Like so
Okay.
I would go with him for like the nostalgia.
Okay.
And then I like
Right.
he's like a baby Prince, baby Michael Jackson, you know, like kind of like out of all the current artists, he reminds me of them the most. So
Got you. Okay. And I've got one more for you. Well, actually, I've got two more for you. Lil Jon or Lecrae?
I didn't interview Lil Jon. I just did a piece
Hmm.
on um
Oh, I
his
know.
yeah, okay. I just wanted people to know.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That piece. I'll go with Lil Jon because he actually retweeted me. So I wasn't expecting yeah.
He probably retweeted, so I saw what you wrote and said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What?"
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness, Lil Jon. Hey, I tried. It really wasn't a great impression.
I am
But
fine.
let's see. Last question: yeah or windows to the walls?
Is this in reference to the tweet that I posted the other day?
Not necessarily, but I do like both of those songs.
Um, I, you know what? I'm gonna go with love, get love because you know it's tied to a memory. Like we were we were on a YMCA trip, and I had the most fun camp counselor that year. And we were going across the train tracks. You know, they tell you to be quiet so that way you can hear the train. And this camp counselor was like, "To the window." So yeah, so I'll go.
Gotcha. Got you. And people are gonna kill me because I said windows to the walls and didn't give the right name. Said Get Low. I know the song's name is Get Low, but hey, I was in the moment of thinking of the song. So you need you all to back up, back up, back up, back up. But that is all the questions I have for you. That is the end of the game. I want to thank you again for coming on. Can you please tell everyone where they can find your fantastic work and where they can find you on social media?
Um, okay, on IG, I am Jael Rucker. That's how they can see my name or no? Oh yeah, okay. So if you can see my name, that's how you spell it. So it's Jael Rucker, like Rucker Park. And then on Twitter, it's Rucker JL. So
All right, all right, and of course you can find her work at 1:37 p.m. I will say, check out the Lil Jon piece. She's got a Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen piece as well, I believe.
mm,
Yeah. So I mean, go on there and check it out. You got the Juju Smith Schuster. You got your Shaq Griffins. I mean, you got anything you can think of. She's going to bring a different angle and a slant to it that you probably haven't seen. So definitely thank you for coming on, JL. Thank everyone for listening. You've been listening and watching Touring the AFC South with your host, Mike Patton. We're out.